Good morning, folks. My name is Kurt Hitzeman, County Court Judge here in Hernando County. You folks are here for your first appearance. The purpose of the first appearance is so that you may be informed of the charges against you. I will determine if probable cause exists for those charges. Probable cause simply means that it's more likely than not that a crime has occurred, and more likely than not that you are the person that has committed the crime. As you stand before me this morning, I presume that you are innocent of that crime. That presumption of innocence will stay with you through every stage of the proceedings, unless and until the state is able to prove the charges against you beyond and to the exclusion of a reasonable doubt. If we determine there's probable cause for your charge, I'll then set conditions of pretrial release, that is your bail or your bond. In most cases, you've had a bond set already pursuant to the bond schedule here in the 5th Judicial Circuit or the warrant which led to your arrest. I'll determine if that bond should be raised or lowered or left the same, or whether there'll be additional conditions of pretrial release placed upon you. We'll let you know when your next court date will be. If you'd like to have the services of the public defender, I'll gladly appoint the public defender to represent you this morning. You do have a right to have contact with folks on the outside, family, friends, counsel. If you have not had a chance to make that call, please let me know. We'll make sure that that happens. Finally, and most importantly, you're advised that you do have an absolute right to remain silent with regard to the facts which surround your arrest. I encourage you to do that. These proceedings are recorded. In addition, there is an assistant state attorney in the courtroom with me. If you say something that tends to incriminate you, they will use it against you in the prosecution down the road. I now need each and every one of you there at the jail to please raise your right hands and be sworn. You all solemnly swear or affirm to tell the truth, whole truth, nothing but the truth? Outstanding. When I call your name, please step forward to the podium. Jane Barkley.
Morning.
Morning, Ms. Barkley. What's your date of birth?
12972.
Ms. Barkley, you're here on a warrant that was signed by Judge Rupi. She found probable cause for a violation of probation. As to that charge, do you wish to represent yourself? Do you plan on hiring private counsel? Would you like me to appoint the public defender?
Public defender.
I'll appoint the PD. Bond on the warrant, of course, is no bond. I can't change that. I'm going to have you back in court on the 9th of August. They told you the 2nd. The right date is the 9th. And the public defender will come see you before that, okay?
Judge, is that a Tuesday CT date?
It's a VOP. Does she want her VOPs on a CT day?
I don't know. I just know that we're splitting up the MMs and CTs.
I know you are.
Is that an arraignment day? They're tracked together.
It's an arraignment day.
Then they track together.
Okay, so leave it there?
Yes.
Okay.
But for pre-trials, we do separate them.
Right, that I knew.
Added extra confusion.
Okay. Jessica Dunn. Morning, Ms. Dunn. What's your date of birth?
82480.
Ms. Dunn, you're here on a warrant signed by Judge Rupi as well. She apparently failed to appear in her court on a charge of petty theft. As to that charge, you're going to represent yourself. You're going to have hire private counsel. Would you like the public defender?
Public defender.
She previously was appointed public defender.
Right. We'll continue the appointment of the public defender. Bond on the warrant is $10,000. I'm not going to change that. We'll send you back to see Judge Rupi on August 9th. Looks like they told you the 2nd. The right date is the 9th. Public defender will come see you before then, all right?
Okay.
Melissa Kincaid. Morning, Melissa. What's your date of birth?
8882.
All right, Melissa, we have 5 charges this morning. I've got possession of methamphetamine, 3 counts of possession of controlled substance, 1 count of possession of drug paraphernalia. There's probable cause for all of those charges. As to those charges, you wish to represent yourself. You're going to hire private counsel. Would you like me to appoint the public defender?
Public defender.
I'll appoint the PD. State what can you tell me?
She was released from DOC on February 4th of 2017 for a possession-related case. It gets a little confusing with her actually because she has multiple FTAs, some of which are the failure to appearance, some of which are the actual charge. I believe there's 4 of the charge. She has another possession of controlled substance, that and carrying concealed firearm, 2014 possession of controlled substance, and another FTA in 2014.
All right. And Missy, where are you staying lately?
On Sand Pine.
A little closer to the microphone, please. I can't hear you.
On Sand Pine Drive, Silver Off County Line.
Okay. Do you have a job these days?
No.
I'm going to leave the bonds per the schedule, which is $2,000 on each of the 4 felonies and $1,000 on the misdemeanor for a total of $9,000. You'll be back in court, on the 8th of August. If you bond out, it's very important that you go see the public defender right away. If you're unable to bond out, they'll come see you before your court date, okay? Thank you. Ashley Ogle. Morning, Ashley. Date of birth?
4/28/85.
All right, Ashley, we have 3 new charges this morning. I've got a misdemeanor battery, a burglary of a conveyance, and a grand theft. There's probable cause for those charges. As to those charges, you want to represent yourself. You want to hire private counsel. Would you like me to appoint the public defender?
Public defender.
I'll appoint the PD. And she was here earlier this
On
week.
the 5th.
And
Yeah,
where did
she
we
was-
send her? Was that felony charges or misdemeanor?
Yes, it looks like 2 counts of possession of controlled substance, 1 count of grand theft, and a resisting. That's the 7/4/17 case. And then she also had a 5/18/17 case for petty theft and possession.
Okay, so it looks like we set her for the 31st earlier in the week. Okay. Okay. All right. So Ashley, on the misdemeanor battery, I'm going to leave the bond at $500. Condition of that bond is that you have no contact with Heather Stein. If ultimately you're not able to bond out of jail, that would mean that you don't call her or write her from the jail. I will have that case back on the 2nd of August. And then on the 2 new felonies, I'm going to leave the bonds per the schedule, which is $5,000 and $2,000 respectively. I will move those to the 31st of July, where your other cases already are. Same thing, if you get out, make sure you go to the public defender's office right away. Otherwise, they'll come see you before the 31st, all right?
All right, thank you.
Thank you. Bristol Holland.
Morning.
Morning, Bristol. What's your date of birth?
10/13/1996.
All right, Bristol, I've got a warrant for you this morning out of Hillsborough County. The judge that signed the warrant, let's see, looks like found probable cause for 12 counts of grand theft and set a bond of $2,000 per count. It looks like you got family here. All right. And folks, just so you know, all I can do with the out-of-county warrant today is tell Bristol that it exists. And then he'll be able to, if you're able to bond him out, you can get him out and take him down to Tampa and find out when he's supposed to be in court on those grand theft charges. I think he has some kind of a misdemeanor traffic case in front of me, but he's out on that, and I'm not gonna do anything with that. Just make sure, Bristol and all these folks who are here for you, that you're back in court for me on the 1st of August is when I need him back here. And then like I said, Bristol, as far as your Hillsborough County warrant, the total is $24,000. If you can post that bond, then you can get out of jail here, get down to Tampa, find out when you're supposed to be in court down there. If you're unable to bond him out, Tampa would have 5 days to come and get him and take him down there themselves, all right? Any questions, folks? All right.
And I don't know, I do have his case that he has here, which is just a driver's license. He was on our DL court docket. I don't know if he wants to just be done
Resolve
with that
it
and call it
with
a
a
day.
day?
Because he was actually struggling on DL court as well.
Okay.
So.
And Bristol, if you wanted to take care of the driver's license case that you have in front of me today, we could do that. You wouldn't have to worry about that anymore. All I would do is have you plead no contest. I'd sentence you to 1 day in the county jail, which you've already done. There'd be a fine and court cost of $438, but that would take care of that case, and you could focus on this obviously more serious issues in Hillsborough County. You don't have to do that, but if you'd like to, we can do that this morning.
No, Your Honor.
Okay, that's fine. All right, so it's $24,000, Bristol. If you're out, go to Tampa. Otherwise, they've got 5 days to come get you. All right, thank you, folks. You have a question?
I was curious, did he understand what you said? Because it sounded like what you said about letting him get rid of that today.
It was a good deal, yeah. And I don't know if maybe he'll listen to you more than me. How are you related to Bristol?
I'm his mom.
Bristol, mom, come forward. Bristol, don't go anywhere. All right. And ma'am, my experience with Bristol is that he's a polite young man, but
Yeah.
he was having trouble getting his license squared away. Okay?
Yes.
And so he's been on my docket for a little while, and we weren't really getting anywhere. So your perception of what he just got offered is right, I think. I can't
Right.
give you legal advice.
Right.
That's not what I'm supposed to do. But the fine and court costs would be something that he wouldn't have to go pay right away. It would just be one other thing that would be standing between him and a driver's license.
Correct.
So if we do that this morning, then he doesn't have to worry about coming to see me anymore. Just deal with these Hillsborough issues.
Correct. And that's what I understood.
All right.
Did you understand that, your dad and I are here?
Yeah. All right.
All right. Sounds like you folks think that's a good idea. You want to do that, Bristol?
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay. So, Bristol, you understand by entering a plea in that case, you give up the right to have a trial by jury, the right to confront the witnesses against you, the right to remain silent, the right to have a lawyer represent you. But you want to give up those rights so we can resolve your misdemeanor here today?
Yes, Your Honor.
Very good. Case number 17, CT 713, as to the charge that you drove knowing your license had been suspended or revoked. How do you wish to plead? You can plead no contest, Bristol. Means you're not fighting the charge. Do you wish to plead no contest?
Yes, Your Honor.
Very good. I'll accept that plea. Find it's freely and voluntarily made. Adjudicate you guilty. Sentence you to 1 day in the county jail. Credit for 1 day served. Finding court cost is $438. So now that misdemeanor is done, you don't have to come back and see me anymore. Just focus on the Hillsborough cases, okay?
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, folks.
Thank
Yep. Yeah, 1 day. Todd, do you have somebody in first appearance?
Judge, I got a bond hearing at 8:30, but no hurry. I
Okay.
got 10 o'clock in the other courtroom.
Okay, we'll let you hang out
This
then.
afternoon.
We'll let you hang out.
I'm eating lunch in Brooksville today.
Me too.
Yeah, too.
All right. Christian Roldan.
Good morning.
Morning, sir. What's your date of birth?
10/7/83.
Okay. Christian, I have a warrant for you out of Pasco County. Judge in Pasco County found probable cause for a grand theft and set your bond at $5,000. I can't change that bond. So if you can post the bond, you can get out of my jail, go down to Pasco, find out when they want you in court. If you can't post it, I'll give Pasco 5 days to come get you. It does not take 5 days with Pasco County, but if for some bizarre reason you're still here in 5 days, they'll bring you back to see me and I'll find out what the problem is, all right?
Thank you, sir.
Thank you. Brian Rust. Morning, Mr. Rust. What's your date of birth?
5/9/61.
All right, so you have a charge of battery on a person 65 or older. There's probable cause for that charge. As to that charge, you want to represent yourself, you want to hire private counsel, or would you like me to appoint the public defender?
I'm not your public defender.
I'll appoint the public defender. State what you tell me.
He was arrested on May 18th, 2017 for the exact same charge of the same victim. That case is already closed. His 2016 trespass, 2014 grand theft, 12 burglary, disorderly conduct and carrying a concealed weapon in 09, criminal mischief in 09. Then there's a combination ag assault, DUI, fleeing to loot, battery, and something else in 2001. Another concealed weapon charge in 97, and then it starts going back to the 80s.
There you go. All right, Mr. Rust, I have an address for you on Glasgow Road in Brooksville. Is that where you live?
Yeah.
How long have you lived there?
Well, I come out here, man, in February to help my parents out, and she just put my old man in on a Baker Act 2 nights ago.
Okay, hang on, Mr. Rust. Mr. Rust, hang on.
Too long.
I just wanted to know if she lived there, okay?
Yeah.
All right. Do you have a job these days?
No.
Okay.
Yeah, taking care of them.
Okay, so it seems. I'll set your bond at $2,000, Brian. Condition of the bond, however, is that you're going to have no contact with Mary. No contact means no contact of any kind. You don't call, you don't write, you don't email, you don't text message, you don't contact her through any social media. You don't have a third person contact her. You don't go where she lives. You don't go where she works. You don't have any contact of any kind. Any way that you might imagine contacting her, I forbid you to do that. If you have contact and we find out about it, your bond will be revoked and you'll be held without bond until the charges are resolved. It means no contact even if she wants the contact. So if you answer your phone and hear her voice, you should hang up. If you're out and about and see her, you should turn around and run the other way. You need to understand that she cannot drop the charges against you. That's not a decision she gets to make. She can go to the state attorney's office and ask them to drop the charges. She can tell them she's not interested in pursuing this, but that decision belongs solely to the assistant state attorney handling your case. Now, I know that that's happened for you recently, that the state attorney's office has dropped the case, but you have to understand that it's not because she asked them to, it's because they determined they couldn't go forward. She might ask on this one as well, but if they think they can go forward, they can go forward even if she doesn't want to. In addition, I'm going to hold it today up until 4 p.m. so that if she wanted to serve you with a civil injunction for protection against domestic violence, we'd know where to find you. If you get the civil injunction, it's doubly important you not have contact, because in that case, not only could you get your bond revoked here, but you could get new charges for violating the injunction. As far as that address on Glasgow, as long as Mary's staying there, you're going to have to stay someplace else until we get this case resolved. You can go by one time to collect your things, your clothes, your toothbrush, whatever you need for wherever you plan to stay. To do that, however, you must contact the sheriff's office first. They would meet you there with a deputy who would stand by while you got your things and get going where you're going. I'll have you back in court on August 8th. Very important that you go see the public defender if you get out, all right?
Yep.
Thank you. Radames Torres. Morning, sir. Looks like you're just here on a transport, and did you need the public defender?
No, sir, I got a lawyer.
You got a lawyer? Okay. You'll be back in court on the 19th of July, all right?
Yes, sir.
Thank you. John Wyatt? Morning, John. Date of birth?
Morning. January 15th, 1973.
All right. John, you got a warrant today signed by Judge Merritt. Apparently you failed to appear in his court on a charge of felony driving on a suspended license. Did you have a public defender on that case, John?
Yes, I do.
All right. We'll continue the public defender. Judge Merritt set your bond at $10,000. I can't change that. And let's see. Okay. Is July 31st Judge Merritt Day?
Oh, I'm sorry, it should be 8/8.
It is 8/8? Okay. I'll have you back in court on August 8th, John, and if you can't get out, the public defender's going to come see you before then, all right?
Yes, sir.
Thank you. Robert Emery.
Yes, sir.
Morning, Robert. What's your date of birth?
2/3/62, sir.
Robert, the charge is trespass after warning. There's probable cause for the charge. As to that charge, you want to represent yourself? You want to hire private counsel? Would you like the public defender?
Public defender, sir.
I'll point to PD, Steve.
His record's extent. I
Is that
think
it?
we just pled him out to something like this the other day.
Okay.
I don't know.
You want to make an offer?
Yeah, 15 days.
Okay. Robert, you want to resolve this with 15 days in jail?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
All right.
You understand by entering a plea, you give up the right to have a trial by jury, the right to confront the witnesses against you, the right to remain silent, the right to have a lawyer. But you want to give up those rights so we can resolve your case today?
Yes, sir.
Very good. As to the charge of trespass, how do you wish to plead? You can plead no contest, means you're not fighting the charge.
I'll give you no contest plea on this one, sir.
I'll take it. I'll find it freely and voluntarily made. I'll adjudicate you guilty, sentence you to 15 days in the county jail with credit for 2 days served. Be a fine and court cost of $503 and your cost of incarceration, but that takes care of it, Robert. You just need to finish up the time, all right?
Thank you, sir.
Thank you. Good luck to you. Sean Hull. Morning, Sean. What's your date of birth?
2583.
Sean, we have 7 charges this morning. I've got possession of controlled substance, 4 counts of possession of a prescription drug without a prescription with intent, 1 count of possession of marijuana, 1 count of possession of drug paraphernalia. There is probable cause for those charges. As to those charges, you want to represent yourself, you want to hire private counsel, or would you like the public defender?
Public defender.
I'll appoint the PD. Hang on one second.
And Judge, I believe he had some other cases.
Yeah, I think he has a
He
bunch
does.
going on.
I'm trying to find out about offense dates.
28.
Hang on,
June 30th.
because this one says June 30.
Yeah, the other ones we show have arrest dates of June 30th and June 29th. But I don't know what the offense dates were for.
Yeah, they seem pretty close.
Shot on hold, possession. He's set on 7/31.
Yeah, they're both set for arraignment. That's why I say
He's a misdemeanor though too.
Yeah, well,
17 MM 1148, which probably has earlier.
The offense date is April 1st.
on the misdemeanor case.
Yes.
Okay,
Do we know which docket that's on?
Christie's. Yeah, Judge Rupi. And do we know about the felonies, Christie? I mean, because that's coming back. His misdemeanors are coming back on the 20th. So
1366 CF.
right.
Offense date is 629.
Okay.
And 1352 CF. Offense date is 67.
Oh, there you go. What's the charge in 52?
There's 4 charges. Possession of paraphernalia, style manufacture and deliver, use two-way communication device, and
Okay.
another style manufacture.
Okay. We'll use that one since the offense date is pretty clear of this one. All right. And all right. I'm sorry, Sean. Did you say you wanted the public defender?
Yes, sir.
Okay. I'm going to appoint the public defender on these charges. I'm going to leave the bonds per the schedule, which is going to be a total of $12,000. I'm going to send them to the 31st of October because that's where your other felonies are. However, in 17 CF 1352, that charge, which has a prior offense date, I'm going to revoke the pretrial release in that case and hold you without bond at least until the 31st. So you're not going to be able to bond out. You'll be there at least until the 31st, and then Judge Toner, if he wishes, can revisit the bond in that case. Public defender will come see you on those cases. Do you have a public defender on your misdemeanor cases as well?
I have private attorney on my misdemeanor case. They had already previously revoked the bond on the misdemeanor case.
Okay.
It's going to be handled on the 20th. I'm
Right.
hoping.
Right.
So I
Okay.
can rebond
Well,
out.
you'll take care of those, I'm assuming, on the 20th. You'll still be in custody through the 31st at least, and then Judge Toner can revisit the bond in 1352 if that's what he wants to do. Public defender will be coming to see about these, and certainly stay in touch with your private attorney on the misdemeanors, all right?
Judge,
Yeah.
for clarity of the record, you had said October
Did I?
31st.
No, it's July.
Yes.
Helen.
Okay, right. Thank you, Sean. I don't know what that's about. James Martin.
Yes, sir.
Morning, sir. What's your date of birth?
6/22/1983.
James, I've got 2 counts this morning: possession of methamphetamine, possession of drug paraphernalia. There's probable cause for those charges. As to those charges, you want to represent yourself. You want to hire private counsel. Would you like me to appoint the public defender?
Public defender.
I'll appoint the PD, Steve.
Sent to prison for 4.5 years for L&L in 2008. The prior to that had a burglary case, which also resulted in 4 years state prison. That was in 2007, and that's actually about the extent of it in some juvenile.
Okay.
Your Honor, he is currently on probation for Drillis,
Okay.
CT, 16 CT 2631, so a warrant will be coming.
Okay. And James, got an address for you on Wildwood Drive in Brooksville. Is that where you live?
Yes, sir.
How long you been there?
About 2.5 years.
In this case, I'm going to leave your bonds per the schedule, which is $2,000 on the meth, $1,000 on the paraphernalia, for a total of $3,000. These are coming back on the 8th of August. Condition of your bond on these, because of your status, is that if you do bond out, you'll be subject to GPS monitoring at your expense. I would advise you that if you do bond out, if you spend money bonding out, you might wind up losing that money because the folks at misdemeanor probation are going to issue a warrant for your arrest for a VOP now, and that warrant will have a bond of no bond. So if you bond out on these charges and then they arrest you on that no bond warrant, when that comes out next week sometime, you might lose that money, but that's up to you. This case will be coming back on the 8th of August. If you do get out, you should go and see the public defender right away. Otherwise, they'll come see you at the jail, all right?
All right.
Thank you. George Susik. Morning, sir. What's your date of birth?
8689.
All right, George, first charge I have for you is the driving under the influence. There is probable cause for that charge. Then I have a trafficking in methamphetamine and possession of controlled substance. There's probable cause for those two charges. Then I have a number of warrant that was signed. This isn't a warrant case. No, it's not a warrant. Then there's another arrest affidavit that contains the charges of fleeing to elude, possession of methamphetamine, possession of oxycodone, possession of hashish, possession of drug paraphernalia, driving on a suspended license. There's probable cause for those. And lastly, I have a warrant for you out of Bay County, which I believe is a violation of probation warrant, and the judge that issued that warrant set a bond of no bond. As to the local charges, you want to represent yourself, you want to hire private counsel, or would you like me to appoint a public defender?
I'm gonna represent myself right now.
You're going to represent yourself?
Well, I'm gonna try to hire a lawyer.
Okay, that's fine. That sounds better. I mean, if you got the full freight on all of these, you'd be spending pretty much most of the rest of your life in prison, so you need to get the help of a lawyer, all right? Very good. State, what can you tell me?
It's a pretty constant stream of arrests from 2005 up until 2016. There's Bat Leo, which he got 5 years probation for in 2016, which I'm guessing is related to the Bob. He has a disorderly. He went to prison slightly before that for a whole bunch of charges. There's just a ton of arrests on there. Felon in possession among some drug charges there. Got went to prison for 15 months for DSP in 2014. That's connected to a whole bunch of additional charges. Petty theft, drug possession, fleeing to elude. That one was 18 months DOC. That one's from 2011. There's failure to appear sprinkled into here, a forgery. Should I keep going?
No.
Okay.
George, I have an address for you on Little Lake Road in Spring Hill. Is that where you live?
Yes, sir.
How long have you lived there?
27 years.
You got a job these days?
No, sir.
Is that a yes or a no?
No, sir.
All right. All right. I've appointed the public defender, or I haven't appointed the public defender. You're going to get private counsel on these. And then I'm going to leave your bonds for the schedule. On the DUI, that's $1,000. That case is coming back on the 2nd of August. On the other charges, we have a trafficking in meth and a possession of controlled substance. Those are 50 and 10 respectively. And then in the last charges, the fleeing is 2,000, possession of meth 10,000, possession of oxy 2,000, possession of hashish 2,000, paraphernalia 1, driving on a suspended 2. The total on all of these is $80,000. Now, of course, the warrant out of Bay County is no bond. So what that means for you, George, is if you were able to post the $80,000 for the local charges, then Bay County at that point would have 5 days to come get you. If you're not able to post a bond on the local charges, then you'll stay here until those charges are resolved. When you've resolved your locals, then Bay County will come get you for those charges. All of the felony charges are going to come back to court on the 8th of August. And if you don't bond out, then the public defender will come see you here at the jail before your court dates, okay? Thank you. Lloyd Best. Morning, sir. What's your date of birth?
4473.
And Lloyd, we have arrest for possession of methamphetamine and possession of drug paraphernalia. And then in your case, I have a number of warrants. I believe they were all signed by Judge Merritt. In the first one, he found probable cause for trafficking in methamphetamine, possession of a place for trafficking methamphetamine, sale of methamphetamine, unlawful use of a two-way communication device, and possession of drug paraphernalia. In the second warrant, he found probable cause for the charges of trafficking in methamphetamine, sale of methamphetamine, unlawful use of a two-way communication device, constructive possession of a place for trafficking, and possession of drug paraphernalia. In the third warrant, he found probable cause for trafficking in methamphetamine, sale of methamphetamine, unlawful use of two-way communication device, and possession of drug paraphernalia. And in the final warrant, he found probable cause for trafficking in methamphetamine, sale of methamphetamine, possession of drug paraphernalia. As to all their charges, there being probable cause, you wish to represent yourself, you're going to hire private counsel. Would you like me to appoint the public defender?
Public defender.
I'll appoint the PD, Steve.
This is one you could tell me when to say when on. He got out of prison in 9/4/16 for methamphetamine. Prior to that, he was sentenced to 36 months state prison for controlled substance cases in 2013. Prior to that, he was sentenced to 4 years state prison for illegal use of credit cards and controlled substance cases in 2006. Sale of hallucinogen, cocaine. Prior to that, we have a failure to appear and a possession case where he did county jail time. And more county jail on a battery case in 2004. Back to prison in 2002.
That's good. That's good. And Mr. Best, I have an address for you on Cayente Street in Hernando Beach. Is that where you live?
Yes, sir.
How long you been there?
Couple months.
All right. You got a job these days?
Trucking.
Okay. All right. On the first two arrests, the methamphetamine and the drug paraphernalia, I'll leave those per the schedule, which is $2,000 and $1,000 respectively. On these various warrants on the trafficking charges, those will be set at $25,000. The possession of place at $5,000. The sales will all be $5,000. Paraphernalias will be $1,000, and the two-way communication device will be $5,000. So what's that going to give you is a total of 28, 33, 34, 59, 60, 65, 70, 95, 100, 105, 140, 141, about $151,000. If you're able to bond out, you should go see the public defender right away. Otherwise, they'll come see you at the jail before your court date. And all of these will be coming back on the 8th of August. All right? Thank you.